Nikola Tesla was a Serbian-American engineer and physicist who lived from 1856 up until 1943, and he had over 300 patents to his name, the most notable of which would be inventing the first alternating current AC motor system, which ended up changing life for everyone, unlike the DC motors which were being used beforehand and which were heavily supported by his former boss and rival, Thomas Edison. Nikola Tesla was born in 1856 in Smiljan, Croatia, which was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire at the time. Tesla's father was a priest in the Serbian Orthodox Church and his mother managed the family's farm, but she also had a knack for creating tools and small mechanical appliances, which maybe was where Tesla got his interest initially from. When Tesla was just 7 years old, his brother Daniel was killed in a riding accident. The death of his brother had traumatized Tesla, and he claimed that he started seeing visions, which is said to be the first signs of his lifelong mental illnesses. Before coming to America, Tesla had studied math and physics at the Technical University of Graz. He had also studied philosophy at the University of Prague. It is reported that in 1882, while he was taking a walk, he had come up with the idea for a brushless AC motor, and that he had actually made his first sketches of the rotating electromagnets in the sand on the path that he was walking on. He ended up moving to Paris and got a job as a repairman for the direct current DC power plants with the Continental Edison Company. In 1884, Tesla had moved to America and ended up becoming friends with Mark Twain during the 1890s. It is said that Twain often visited his lab, and in 1894, Tesla had photographed Twain in one of the first pictures ever that was lit by phosphorescent light. Tesla initially wanted to start his own company, the Tesla Electric Light Company. But without a lot of money and connections, he ended up digging ditches for $2 a day. Soon after, Tesla had found backers who were interested in supporting his research into the alternating current system. Throughout 1887 and 1888, Tesla was granted more than 30 patents for his inventions and ended up going to the American Institute of Electrical Engineers to talk about his accomplishments. One of the quotes that came from his speech was, "In a time not distant, it will be possible to flash any image formed in thought on a screen and render it visible at any place desired. The perfection of this means of reading thought will create a revolution for the better in all of our social relations." Basically, Tesla was explaining what would become known as the internet today, and many people thought that he was crazy at the time. However, his speech had caught the attention of George Westinghouse, who was Thomas Edison's biggest competitor in what was known as the Battle of the Currents. Without hesitation, George Westinghouse had hired Tesla, licensed his patents for his AC motor system, and gave him his own lab to work in. Edison didn't like this and ended up arranging for a convicted New York murderer to be put to death in an AC-powered electric chair. He had also used the AC motor system to electrocute small animals to turn the public against the AC system, as Edison thought that his system was the only one that should be in use. As the Battle of the Currents was heating up, George Westinghouse had started running low on funds and told Tesla that if he wanted to make the AC system a success, he wouldn't be able to pay him his royalties, as he would need more funds to keep the company afloat. Without hesitation, Nikola Tesla had accepted and ripped a contract for the royalties, which today would be worth billions. In the 1890s, Tesla's inventions continued to rise, and one of the more popular ones was a high-voltage transformer, which became known as the Tesla coil. He had also showed short-range demonstrations of radio communication 2 years before Marconi and piloted a radio-controlled boat around a pool in Madison Square Garden. Then, in 1891, Tesla and Westinghouse had lit the world's Columbian Exposition in Chicago. After this, they formed a partnership with General Electric to install AC generators at Niagara Falls, which resulted in the world's first modern power station. In 1895, Tesla's New York lab had burnt down, which destroyed years of hard work. Shortly after, Tesla had relocated to Colorado Springs for 2 years, continuing his work, and claimed that he had received signals which were outer planetary. He is quoted as saying, "The changes I noted were taking place periodically and with such a clear suggestion of number and order that they were not traceable to any cause then known to me. The feeling is constantly growing on me that I had been the first to hear the greetings of one planet to another." In 1900, Tesla had to move back to New York, where he had secured backing from J.P. Morgan, one of the world's biggest financiers. His next project was to build a global communication network, which would be a giant tower at Wardenclyffe, which was located on Long Island. It is said that Tesla's big idea for the Wardenclyffe Tower was actually to be able to provide free electricity for everyone on the planet, and when he had presented this idea to Morgan, the partnership went sour and the two had stopped working together. In 1915, Tesla's debt for the Wardenclyffe Tower accumulated to $20,000, which would be around $500,000 today. As Tesla was not making money at this time, he fell behind on payments on the mortgage, and the proprietor of the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, George C. Bolt, who gave Tesla the mortgage, had foreclosed on the Wardenclyffe property. The Wardenclyffe Tower was then demolished for scrap, and Tesla's dream of free electricity for everybody was put to a halt. During the last years of his life, Tesla had lived in a New York hotel which was called the New Yorker Hotel, where he continued to work on new inventions. However, it is said that around this time, his energy and mental health had started deteriorating rapidly. One of these illnesses is said to do with his obsession with the number 3, as well as his dislike for pearls. It is said that he couldn't stand the sight of them and he wouldn't even speak to a woman if she was caught wearing them. After this, he spent his final years alone at the hotel, feeding and communicating with the city's pigeons. He even had a favorite pigeon, which was a female, and wrote about her saying, "I loved that pigeon as a man loves a woman, and she loved me. As long as I had her, there was a purpose to my life." Sadly, Nikola Tesla had died alone in his room on January 7, 1943, at the age of 86. Before his family could arrive to see the body, it is reported that the FBI and other government officials had took all of his work and notes out of the room. One of the later inventions that Tesla claimed to have created is a death ray machine. He was quoted as saying that it would send concentrated beams of particles through the free air of such tremendous energy that they will bring down a fleet of 10,000 enemy airplanes at a distance of 200 miles from a defending nation's border and will cause armies to drop dead in their tracks. It is also reported that he planned to give out this invention out in bits to different superpowers, so that the only way that it could be built is if they all sat down with one another and pieced it together. After the death of Nikola Tesla in 1943, the U.S. Supreme Court have voided 4 of Marconi's key patents, which had made Tesla the actual inventor of radio. The AC power system he created remains the global standard for power transmission, and thanks to Tesla's AC power system, we are able to provide a ton of power with just one plant, whereas DC would have needed hundreds of plants close by to each other just to power up a small city. So as you can see, Nikola Tesla's work and contribution to the planet helped to truly ease the standard of living for all of us today.